guys, today's video is going to be a little different than what I've done so far, and that's because we are crafting. I'm going to be making not just one Halloween wreath, but two. So one of them will require having some sort of adhesive or glue. The other one, not so much. You can if you want, but I prefer to make this one without it. All of these items are from Michaels. I bought them with my own money. I did do one of these wreaths last year, and I decided I'm going to remake it. Now, you can find most of the items for that one still this year, or at the very least something similar, so you can still make your own creation. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to be showing how to do the Grapevine wreath first, and then the branch wreath second. But for both wreaths and for all the items that you may want to put on these wreaths, I would highly recommend doing the same first step. Now, this is just a recommendation, you don't have to do it, but since so many of these items have glitter on them, and if you've watched my channel before, then you know exactly how I feel about glitter, this will hopefully help stop the problem. So you're going to want to spray some form of a sealant on all of the wreaths and the items that are going on the wreaths to hopefully stop, or at the very least cut back on the transfer of glitter. So what I used was this, the Mod Podge clear acrylic sealer. So I use this on everything. You're supposed to use it in short spurts. I will say right now, do this outside. Do this outside, or some outdoor space where you can spread out papers and spray this on everything. The fumes are very strong. In fact, it does warn about the fumes. If I were you, I'd also wear a mask just to be on the safe side. If you are pregnant, do not use this, or have someone do this for you instead, just to be on the safe side, please, 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 please. But you're going to want to do this on all of the items, a nice even coat. I only did one coat, let it dry overnight. Technically you can dry in 15 minutes, but this way it will keep most of the glitter on the item itself instead of on your hands and on your floor and everywhere else that you don't want it to be. Everything has been sprayed with the sealant, everything has been dried. So let's take a look at what we are working with. So this is your typical Grapevine wreath from Michaels, sprayed with a black paint and I believe some form of glitter, which we have dealt with. And then all of these items I at least got from Michaels last year. So as I said, you can find similar items still there this year. I know that these lovely little orange doohickeys, doohickey, let's go with doohickey, that's a technical term, right? So these things I know you can definitely find this year. I know that you can find these this year. You may not be able to find these exactly, but you could find similar ones, or do whatever you want to make this your own. And I think you can also find something similar to this as well. So that should be a silver bat with orange and black glitter foliage. There was a spider on this, but I took that off because of my husband and I. We are both arachnophobic. And these items are from this year. So you have your bats, little bats that are sparkly and on a little stand, pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns with some little spooky branches, rest in peace, gravestone, some black bat spindly garland. Not too sure if I'm going to use this or not. We will see. Wooden bat and moon. And of course this branch wreath. So this entire wreath is what inspired me to even do this in the first place. I've been looking for something like this for a while. I was glad that Michaels came out with it. So now we are going to work with it. But first, let's work on the Grapevine wreath and then tackle this one. So first thing I like to do, I like to sort of figure out exactly what I want my wreath to look like. Now, I'm not putting anything down permanent yet. Instead, I'm just going to be laying things across here as I wish to see what looks right. This way I'm not married to anything and we are still good to go. I'm wanting all of these to cross over so that there's ample coverage. So this is what we're working with so far. Yes, it's a little messy looking, but we will clean it up in just a little bit once we start adding everything in. Now we're gonna go for these guys. So, can go for that. Okay. This is what we're going for so far. I know it's kind of hard to see right now since everything's black on black, but got 3 here. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm leaving that spot up there empty for the time being, and I think that's where I'm going to put this guy up there, but we'll see. So I am gonna lay the rest of this out and see what we like and what we don't. Just for reference of how I'm doing this, taking an orange, I'm taking a black, and I'm taking an orange, and I'm crossing them just to get this lovely little, just try to get that look. And then we're placing it down like so, in between the base of this. Again, this is just kind of like a feeling type thing right now. That to that, that to there. And orange there. Kind of like that. Okay, this is what we have so far. And then I'm thinking of adding that right there. So, I think this is what we're going to work with. Now we just need to actually put it all together. So, just taking everything off and placing it right by everything so I know where it's supposed to be, connection to everything else. And let's start. So the joy of Grapevine wreaths is you can literally just weave these in and they'll stay. If you really want to, you can put some of these under here just for added security. And just to make sure they stay like they're supposed to. You don't have to. Again, if you'd rather use glue for this, you are more than welcome to. I just don't like using glue because, well, I'm indecisive. And so this way, I don't have to be married to an actual design. Let's just keep moving on around this. Now you may have to kind of like search for certain spots in here that'll fit. And if it doesn't lay flat, again, that is okay. All right, so this is what we're working with so far. Note how I just kind of place these in there, like in these little sections here. That's the beauty of working with Grapevine. They just stay in as they're supposed to. So let's add the rest of this stuff. So this is what we have so far. And this is the beauty of not using adhesive with this type of wreath. You can fiddle with it as much as you like if you want to fiddle with it at all. So I'm actually liking how everything is looking. It's an extremely busy wreath. Now you can add as much as you want, as little as you want, whatever. This is your playground. This is your chance to be uber creative, however you want to do, but just make it yours. So this is my rather busy pumpkin wreath. Next up, let's work on our branch wreath. I love the branches. I love the fact it's so spooky and eerie and everything else. There's only one problem. This wreath has nothing that you can just stick the items onto and it just stays. So this is one where you're gonna need some form of glue or adhesive. Now, normally a lot of people recommend a hot glue gun. So do I. However, somewhere in my move from my apartment over a year ago to this house is I somehow lost my hot glue gun in the move. And I didn't want to just go out and buy one for this since I almost never use anything involving a hot glue gun anymore. So I am using something else instead, which I'm betting that a lot of people in the craft world are probably going to come for my throat for this. E6000. So this is like mega strength adhesive from what I have found. If you're going to use this in an open area or with a mask on or something, this is strong. A small amount goes a very long way. So this stuff will make sure everything on here will not go anywhere. Again, I would highly recommend that you use a hot glue gun instead, please. So I have said my warning, I've said my piece on that one. But let's get started. So with this, it is going to be doubly important to lay out everything first of how I want this to look. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to go on from there, because this is going to involve a lot of me fiddling and probably a lot of me cursing, if I'm going to be very honest. Especially with this garland, because I got to figure out if I'm going to use it in the first place. So I'll get back to you guys as soon as I finish with that. Okay, 20 minutes, 3 renditions, and a string of cursing later, plus some ibuprofen. I think I have figured out what this is going to look like. Okay, so this is tentatively what we are going with here. Now, all these extra sticks that we've got for like the post and everything of where normally you would put this in for like a grapevine wreath or a different wreath, those will be removed. However, this is just what I have laying out right now. So the big question was what to do with this section right here. So what I have are some flowers and leaves that were part of a bridesmaid's bouquet from my wedding. So this is one of my bridesmaids bouquets, and she said I could keep it and do with it whatever I wanted. So I have just periodically over the years just used the flowers from it in different things. And I had this extra bit of not exactly creepy cloth, but pretty close to it. And I had a bunch from a project I did. I think it may have actually been a Gothic belly dance performance that I did. So I just shredded some cloth and I made it like it wasn't the cleanest cut because I didn't want it to be super clean. But I just tied that on here and I'm just gonna let it drape. And we're gonna see how this is going to go. So next up is going to be actually attaching everything here and hoping that it stays. First thing that I did was I cut off the base of these. So I took off the extra part just right underneath the tail of the bottom bat. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's not wanting to focus. There we go. So I took off the base of those. And I also did the same thing with the pumpkins, right where everything is wrapped and it got really thick. So I took off the bottom part of that. I also colored in the base of this with a Sharpie, since that did leave some of that little brown. All right, now we're gonna start laying all this stuff down. I'm gonna take my epoxy. What you guys should use is a hot glue gun, but I don't have that. So I'm gonna take my epoxy and I'm going to put some right here on the wreath, and I'm going to just lay that there. Next, I'm going to do this guy, and you're just going to want to put this down and lay it however you want, and then glue it however you want. So I want that up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that right there. You do not want this stuff touching your hands. And you're just gonna work around it. All right, so that's done. Now all we have to do is let it dry. So the adhesive has dried just enough for me to hang this up and get a good look at what this is, and I really like it. I didn't know if I would love this as much as I actually do. So I'm considering this my Nightmare Before Christmas themed wreath, mostly because of this lovely moon with the bats in front of it. I love that, and with the little tombstone and the pumpkins and everything else. So I also wasn't too sure if I was going to leave this spot open and just have a lot of negative space there, or if I was going to add something. But asking my husband, he said that I needed to put something there, and I'm glad that I did. So just because you have certain items that you know you're going to put on your wreath, that you buy specifically to put on your wreath, having a couple of things around the house or your apartment or just improvising also works too. This extra cloth that I had, I think it works spectacularly to add a little bit of flair to that. The flowers that I used from my bridesmaid's bouquet, that worked fantastically as well. Plus, this now has a little extra meaning because with this being my so-called Nightmare Before Christmas wreath and the fact that my wedding was Nightmare Before Christmas themed, this now has a little extra meaning and flair. All right, so we have here my grapevine wreath, my branch wreath, two very different wreaths for a very awesome season, the best season around in my personal opinion. And so now I don't know which one I'm gonna use whenever I do my Decorate With Me video. Honestly, I might try to find a way to do both, but we'll see whatever happens there. But this is just what I envisioned, whatever I came up with whenever I saw all the items that I could put together. So do whatever you wanna do whatever makes you feel happy, but this is just what I thought worked when it came to me. I would call both of these wreaths at this point done. Again, this one didn't use any sort of adhesive whatsoever. This one called for it, but you could put adhesive on this if you want to, or you could just do what I did and just place them into the actual creases itself, and then you could change it out later if you want to. I mean, this is the second time I've done this wreath, so it shows you how much you can do and how much you can rework it, and you can still make it yours. But this was my first craft with me video. Let me know what you think. I shot it a little differently, trying to see what would work, what wouldn't work. So please let me know, leave a comment and tell me what you thought, any suggestions or anything else, or what you would like to see or how you would like it to be done. I'd really appreciate that. If you like this video, let me know, leave a like, give me a comment. What wreath do you like best? Which one do you like, but which one would you put in your house, or what version of this wreath would you put in your house? One of these wreaths, I should say. So I think that's gonna be it for me. If you wanna stick around for more videos like this, subscribe. I've got more Halloween content coming up. We still have a month and a few weeks. Yeah, unfortunately, Halloween's almost here, too close to, actually it's way too close in my personal opinion. I want the season to last for a little bit longer, but I think I'm gonna call that here. So, thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the next one. Happy hauntings.